Hello, and welcome back to the Three Knocks at Midnight podcast. My name is Gato,
And my name is Gabe.
and today we're gonna go through some stories, or what would you call these? Are these reports?
This is a collection of stories from students at Utah State University as part of
Yeah,
some folklore collection.
should be an interesting one. We have a few stories here. We're gonna read through them. Some of these might be familiar. We've talked about at least one of these, as far as I know.
Yeah. I think we talked about not trespassing. If anyone remembers that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we talked about like making sure excuse me, making sure that you do not trespass on private property. In fact, you could just ask nicely and they'll let you in.
For a fee, possibly.
But better safe than sorry, I would say.
Right?
Okay, so how did you find these stories? Was it just like a Google search or?
It was I was looking for Utah legend stories, stumbled upon a post, I believe on Reddit, and they were saying, hey, you
Hmm,
should check this out. And it led me to this collection that we have.
nice. Well, should we get started with some of these?
All right. So this is a story of St. Anne's Retreat. If you remember the story that Gato told about his own experience, and I believe it was this place, um, based on the pictures that we looked up. But this one was collected by Jake Turner, collected in Logan, Utah. It says the point of discovery or the informant. It talks about how this Jake person is a senior at Utah State University studying secondary education history composite with minor in classics. 21-year-old who happens to be the vice president of Zombie Aggies organization. That's quite appropriate for our podcast, right?
Yeah.
Not apparently he's not easily scared or spooked, so we'll see if that's true. The context is St. Anne's Retreat is a structure up in Logan Canyon that is rumored to be haunted. The story goes it was a retreat for nuns to get away from the business of the city and to be more involved with nature. There are a couple of versions on the murders of the nuns at the retreat, but the most common is that there were several nuns that were tied up and left to drown in a swimming pool on the estate, and their angered spirits haunt the cabin-esque building, seeking revenge on the person who killed them. This example was retrieved from my own memory that has been told to others. I heard some stories of St. Anne's Retreat in my connections class my freshman year in the fall of 2015. I have heard many stories from different people's experiences at St. Anne's Retreat after a personal encounter with it. I plan to share this story with my students on Halloween once I enter the education field, as well as anybody I know who expresses interest in attending Utah State on the Logan campus or interest in legend trips and haunted locations. All right, and the text goes, I went to St. Anne's Retreat my freshman year after hearing the stories and wanting to disprove some of the local haunts. It is important to note that I am religious, but a skeptic when it comes to monsters, vengeful spirits, and the like. I did not go very far onto the property, as despite my skepticism, I got an evil, cold feeling and heard my inner voice, in charge of self preservation, saying it was a bad idea to progress past the front door. Despite my inner voice, I went into the building, only to have the feeling intensify. I ended up running to my car for safety and did not check out the surrounding area. I have no idea why common sense overrode my skepticism, but it did. That outcome on a haunted legend trip had never occurred before and hasn't occurred since. I still can't say exactly what caused the cold feeling, though I still retain my skepticism on the ghost theory, but I haven't worked up the nerve to venture back. Let's see, the texture. I think this is just kind of like a epilogue.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty common story, though. The bad feeling type stuff, you know?
Well, it's lately I've been learning to kind of trust my gut when I get those feelings.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like they're very very strong feelings, right?
Yep.
And I've when you don't listen to your gut, bad things happen. And I'm not talking about like super bad things, right? But like it could be as simple as like, oh, I don't trust this person to sell me this good quality item, and then you have that gut feeling that something is wrong, but you ignore it and you buy the piece anyway, and then it doesn't work, and the person's no longer to be found. So, my point is that, uh, yeah, this happens a lot, and these gut feelings they're smart. I mean, who knows what could have happened to him, whether it was something spirit like or not. I think he was smart to listen to his gut. Better safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
But I kind of wish he had gone so we could have a maybe more brutal story.
I know. Maybe the other accounts of this same story. There are multiple accounts of this folklore within
Yeah.
this collection. So let's go to the second one and see how that goes.
Would this be the Dylan Cahoon one?
Let's see, Dylan Cahoon.
This would be 1142.
Yes.
So this one also coming from a student. I mean, these are all from Utah State University students. This is from Dylan Cahoon. Wait, hold on a second. Is it or is it from Savannah Gray? This is
I think
Savannah
this is
Gray.
the person who heard from Savannah. So it's like a secondhand account.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, here's what it says. So this is from Savannah Gray from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is from November of 2017, titled The Nunnery, just like we were talking about last time. Supernatural, non-religious legend and legend tripping. The informant is Savannah from Henderson, Nevada. She's a white 21-year-old female, and she is currently studying to be a kindergarten teacher here at Utah State, and she is a junior. She went to the nunnery in her freshman year. The context is, I asked Savannah to tell me her story while sitting in the library on Utah State's campus. Because of that, she had to speak in a quiet tone, and there was very little animation in her voice. Here's the text. We had heard that nuns who were pregnant or had broken rules were sent there as sort of a punishment and to exile them from other nuns. We heard that one nun had had her baby while up there. She wanted to run away with the baby so they couldn't take it away. She set her baby in the woods so that at night she could come back and grab the baby and run. When she went back to get her baby, it wasn't there and the other nuns had drowned in the pool. So a group of friends and I went to the nunnery and were walking around exploring the different houses and rooms. We were the only people up there at that time. We had heard that the pool was haunted since that's where the baby had died. We decided to stand in the pool and we were laughing about it being haunted. The pool house, or the room closest to the pool's door, was open, and as we were laughing, it slammed shut. Since we were the only people up there, it freaked us out and we ran back to the car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's funny because it says here that it seems like Savannah was the only person that didn't believe in the legend.
And then she's the one that gets freaked out.
Yeah, but it's funny because, I mean, I heard steps at nighttime, and that's enough to freak me out. And these guys get a door slammed. And it doesn't say what time they went, does it?
I'm assuming it's at night, right? Pool's haunted.
This person who wrote this report says that It seems the reason that she ran was a fear of someone else closing the door rather than a spirit, because she apparently laughed when she was telling that part of the story when the door shut. Uh,
Okay.
it's definitely a possibility, but I also think that that's kind of like a pretty normal like defense mechanism, is to like just discount everything.
So I mean, I admit I do that. I do that
You,
sometimes.
you close the door shut.
I mean, like being in denial, kind of like laughing just to
Oh
cover up
yeah, yeah,
my
yeah,
right,
yeah. It's when weird things happen at home. It's always like, oh, it could have been the water pipes. It could have been the wind.
right. I mean, it could be. It could be the owner, the people that were like kind of getting sick of it. Instead of, I mean, it would be. I feel like it would be more effective to scare them out, opposed to saying, "Hey, you can't be here,"
I know.
right? Because then it reinforces the fear, and which means they won't come back,
Agreed.
right?
I think that's
That's what I
I
would
mean,
do,
if it
at
was
least.
somebody, I think that's smart. But it could also be a nun who just doesn't want to be bothered.
Oh my gosh, right? Jeez. Wait, nuns had. They can't go swimming, can they?
I think
Are nuns allowed to swim?
I thought only missionaries weren't allowed to swim, and that's they're not allowed to swim in the ocean.
Wow, I have no idea. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't. We. I don't. I didn't grow up with nuns, so I can't
Comments,
say. But
viewers, let us know.
yeah, please educate us. We don't know much about nuns, so
Only the ones you see in movies.
yeah, exactly.
The worst kind, probably. Should we go to number 3?
Let's do it.
Okay, so this one is also by Dylan Cahoon, but it was an interview with, or maybe, wait a second, maybe I'm reading this
Maybe
wrong.
Dylan is just the guy that writes these
Yeah,
down.
maybe. And
Like
then Brittany.
he's the reporter, and then the people write the stories to him.
Yeah.
Like he's the interviewer. I think that's what's going on here.
Okay. So this is Brittany Hogan, also talking about the Nunnery,
Also from Las Vegas.
right? Also Las Vegas, November 2017. It's about Brittany Hogan, who's a student at University State, 20 years old, moved to Logan from Las Vegas in 2015 on a limb because my best friend was coming here, but quickly realized I loved it, majoring in human movement science, enjoys running, being outdoors, works with underprivileged kids. That's some good, donates blood, so a pretty good person, right?
Yeah.
The
Kind-hearted.
context, very kind-hearted. Brittany, this context. Brittany was in Las Vegas when I asked her for a story of the nunnery. Brittany is an outgoing person and not a shy person to speak in a group, and I have personally heard her bring up the nunnery in the context of a party. She told me that she uses it as a kind of getting to know you activity with her new roommates whenever she moves into a new building.
Oh,
That's a great way to break the ice, right? Scary stories.
it's a good way to find your true friends versus
That's true. You know what?
versus the not true
You can
friends.
figure out the vibe really quickly. All right. There's a long one, so brace yourself for this one. I remember my freshman year. I found myself in a group of friends who loved doing things late at night. Our group was mostly led by a few upperclassmen who had lived in Logan longer and knew all the do's and don'ts of the town. One night, my friend Dylan Cahoon decided to enlighten us with a tale of the nunnery. It's tough to remember all the details, but supposedly back in the day, there was a nunnery located in Logan Canyon, and a nun had gotten pregnant and tried to keep it a secret. After the nun had given birth, the other nuns found out and chased her trying to get the child. She ran through the forest, stashing the baby in some bushes. That sounds like a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And running the other direction, trying to fool the nuns. Once caught, she then told them she had disposed of the baby already, and they all turned to go back to the nunnery. Later, the mother returned to the woods but couldn't find her baby anywhere. Upon returning to the nunnery, she saw her baby floating in the swimming pool, drowned.
Mm.
So now the whole nunnery is abandoned and haunted by dead babies. I guess one baby equals many babies. Let me repeat myself. Haunted by dead babies. Of course, we had to go. Either that night or the night after, we were very impulsive. Our group of friends of about 9 or 10 decided to go out and find this place. I had a friend from Las Vegas visiting me and brought him along for the adventure. His name was Nick. Dylan was the only member of the group who had been to the nunnery before, so he led the way. We piled into 2 cars and drove at night through the canyon. It took a while because the entrance was hard to find, and it took us a couple of times before driving up and down the same road to find it. Once we did, Dylan suggested we park down the road a bit and decided to enlighten us with the fact that what we were about to do happened to also be illegal. Great. We walked a quarter of a mile towards the entrance, which ended up being this wide wooden bridge above a river with a metal gate at the end that was chained shut. The gate had wide gaps, so we slipped through and started walking towards a dirt road that led into the forest. Suddenly, bright lights shined directly onto our group, and we made like trees and split. Oh my gosh. We sprinted. We sprinted all the way back to the car, hearts racing by laughing, and when I say we, I mean the females of the group. Once the boys caught up, they told us that there was a security camera underneath the light that must have had a motion sensor that caught us trying to sneak past. We tried figuring out what type of camera it was. It couldn't be streaming a live video because there was no service in the canyon, and we didn't see any wires leading from the pole it was mounted, so it must be recording. Some of the members of the group worried that the light might have set off an alarm to tell police someone was trying to sneak in. So we waited 20 to 30 minutes, which is about how long it would take for police to show up, and no one ever came. So we had to make a decision: go home and call it a close call, or sprint past the light, hope the camera doesn't record our faces, hope police don't show up, and hope a video recording can't be used to ID us later. It was a tough call, but we decided what we thought was the best choice for all the members of the group. Once past the light, we continued sprinting up the dirt path until we came to a series of abandoned houses, all old and falling apart. The houses looked like the perfect scene for a horror film, and we were in the middle of it. There were around 4 small buildings in the middle of tall trees that cast eerie shadows on the ground and each other. I walked cautiously, waiting for the dead baby ghosts to come out of the houses, but luckily it was past their bedtime. Dylan said that there used to be a hole on the side of the building that allowed you to crawl in and look around, but that it was now boarded up. Can't say I was too disappointed with the news, although I swore I heard footsteps coming from places no one was walking.
Bro, that just gave me chills.
Jeez.
That gave me chills so hard.
Oh my goodness. The creepiest part of the night was seeing the giant drained cement pool. Remembering this story and looking at it just sent chills down your spine. We didn't stay long before there were certain members of our group that were desperate to leave, so we sprinted back down the hill and past the security camera, shielding our faces and walking along the road to our car, ending one of the most memorable nights of my college experience.
That's very interesting that they had a very similar experience to ours where we heard footsteps.
Yeah, now I'm getting a little suspicious about that. Because what if your experience was the ghost?
I mean, I'm telling you, man, when we were there, those footsteps were very, very crisp. There's a very clear sound of footsteps, like step after step after step. Like it wasn't like an animal, like
Like
running through
like
it.
barefoot or boots or what?
I don't know, because it was like crinkling on leaves,
Okay, so
which
it
is what made
was.
it even louder, is the fact that it was on leaves. So it wasn't like on the ground uh, by itself. But
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
yeah, and like I don't know, like if you could just imagine just being on a field and you're standing on a bunch of like dead leaves, in the fall,
Yeah.
and somebody approaches you, that sound, like, of their steps coming
Yep.
closer
Yep.
to
Yep.
you.
Yep. Yep.
It was literally that. Like there's no like, oh, I mean, I guess it could have been like the leaves themselves, like, with the wind like rolling over or something. Like it was
Oh
very
man.
distinct,
Yeah.
like footsteps. Now,
That's
granted, it
creepy.
was very dark.
Yeah.
There's no lights except for our own flashlights, and it could have very well have been just the person who likes to do that. But this also happened in 2017, and mine happened, when did I say it happened? It was like 10 years ago, 2014, I think.
Mm.
2013 maybe. It was a long, long time ago. So yeah, that's sketchy, man. That's scary.
I still think it's. Yeah, man, that'd be such a good idea to scare the kids out of there so that way they don't come back. But then that could backfire.
Yeah, because they're telling these stories, and like it makes me want to go back. Sort of. Kind of. Doesn't it make you want to go?
It does, yeah, it does. That's crazy.
Can I read the texture?
Yeah, let's
The end
read
part of
it.
it?
Yep, yep.
Okay, it says Brittany seemed more entrenched in the legend aspect of the nunnery than any other person that I interviewed. Though speaking with them, multiple of the interviews believe in ghosts. However, it seemed that Brittany was the only one that believed that there were actually ghosts there. She had an anxious yet excited temperament when we visited St. Anne's. She was one of the braver people that crossed the bridge first. However, she was constantly jumpy and seemed to legitimately be scared of ghosts.
That's
So
the most
she,
bravest scaredy cat I've ever
yeah, the bravest non-skeptic.
heard. Right?
I think that's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, she was definitely one that was up for adventure.
Hmm. Down to the last account here,
Yeah, we got one more to go.
which is written by his truly, Dylan himself.
He's got the cajoons to write these stories. I hope that's okay to say.
Demonetized.
No. It seems like this is his own account. It seems like this was like a group of people that went to the nunnery together, and now they're all like talking about their experience, or at least I think that. But let's find out. So Dylan is a 24-year-old white male that has lived in Utah his entire life. He's an English major and has studied the nunnery in a folklore class, as well as gone there multiple times. The context. I usually find myself telling the story of St. Anne's retreat when I am around people that I have not met, in a large group setting most of the time. I said that kind of weird. I have found that it is a good icebreaker and that usually it convinces the group to want to go on a trip to the nunnery.
Mm.
And if not, it is at least a good story. I am almost always the one to bring it up and usually can recount the most details out of the other participants because I am usually the one pushing the subject.
Wow.
The text. He's the leader of the group.
Yeah, the leader. Here we go.
I first heard of the nunnery when taking Lynn McNeil's folklore class in my freshman year in 2012. Back in my freshman year, I was much more adventurous and have always loved ghost stories and legend tripping. So I set out to find the nunnery. The first time that I found a group willing to go with me was my sophomore year. A couple apartments in my complex decided they wanted to tag along, so about 3 cars worth headed into the canyon. It had taken us days to find the right bridge, but we were confident that we had found it. The night before and decided, we were confident that we had found it the night before and decided that we would try it and get as large of a group as we could to go explore. We crossed the bridge with no problem. And when we approached the first building, we realized that there was padlocks on them. Unfortunately, we found that of the 12-ish buildings that there were, one was completely broken down and 10 were padlocked. The one that wasn't happened to be the largest building, however, opened up into a hallway. We walked in, and the first two people in the group were attacked by two bats and then flew out the doorway. Very Scooby Doo.
Oh, yeah. Right?
As we wandered farther into the hall, we realized that there was a small square cutout of one of the walls in the corner, almost like a crawl space. We went through, and it opened into a large ballroom with a huge chandelier hanging from the ceiling. We found footprints on the dusty floor, and we were worried that it was possible that a squatter was in the building. So we took a quick but cautious look around the building and then left the building, went into the pool, and then left the property. Well, that wasn't that scary. He just found a bunch of locked buildings and then one that has like a crawl space.
Oh my gosh. I was so hyped up for that one.
Well, yeah, especially when he was like, I usually remember most of the details.
Right?
And like, I always take them there. I figured he would share one of his, better experiences, but, yeah.
I mean, all he saw was bats and dusty floor and footprints. It's probably footprints from the previous people that tried to sneak in. A squatter, though? What if that's the one? That's the person you're hearing the footsteps.
It's just some squatter just like scaring kids. I mean, again, it's possible. So I like the end part here, the texture. He says, the Nunnery is truly one of my favorite stories, and I try to tell it without a skeptical tone when I tell the story. Having gone there twice, and the worst things being seeing some footprints in the dust and having a bat attack some people, it gets more difficult to tell the story with conviction when nothing supernatural has happened to me there. The disappearing truck is the most interesting thing that ever happened to me there, and was the most quote-unquote supernatural occurrence that I have ever experienced. It reinvigorated my storytelling of St. Anne's Retreat, and I tell it excitedly and always end with the story of the disappearing car. Okay, but
wait. Where's
the disappearing car?
We're missing.
He doesn't
a
talk about it
document
here.
No, this is a different document. We have to look for this one.
Yeah, we need to find it because can't talk about a disappearing car and then not talk about it.
Right? Wait, what? Disappearing.
Did you find it?
Nah, I'm still looking. Wow. Folklore. Okay. Let's search Dylan Cahoon. Oh, he has so many documents of this. Holy smokes. There's more of this.
Dylan, if you're listening to this, I hope you're okay with us talking about your stories. Because they're cool.
Yeah, these are
and I
really
share one
cool.
of the experiences.
Yeah. Oh, this one talks about how this person met Dylan Cahoon. Oh wow, the version of this one is they came across what looked like an old swimming pool, and Dylan told me that when the nuns got pregnant, they would drown their babies in that pool because obviously nuns can't have children. Jeez, this Dylan guy is is a legend himself. There's another one, 23-year-old white female. Cheryl Lynn talks about how she heard the nunnery from a neighbor, Dylan Cahoon. They were game night and told us about a nun that was sent into a nunnery in the canyon from Salt Lake because she got pregnant. And when the baby was born, they drowned it in the pool and sent the nun back to Salt Lake, where she was told to never tell anyone about the baby. After the game night, the roommate Haley seemed obsessed and went multiple times with Dylan to adventure in the canyon and find it. I think it took them a couple days, but when they came back and said they were sure they found it, and when about 10 of us went out, we ended up climbing over the fence into some guy's yard. After that, it took a few more days, and then they actually did find it. We went, and it was honestly kind of anticlimactic. Almost all the doors were locked, but the big building that was unlocked was pretty cool. I remember there was a big crystal chandelier and there being some bats that attacked someone. And when we went into the swimming pool where they drowned the baby, that was the creepiest part of all of it. Besides when our friend Brad hid himself behind a tree and pretended to be a guard. I think that's all I can remember. Interesting.
So this person was at that party, the first party
Yeah,
that had bats.
I guess so, yeah. Well, I think she heard about the bats. I don't think
Oh, I
she was
see.
part of that group.
Wait, but you didn't find the car one, right?
Yeah, I'm looking out for her right now. Brittany. Nope, nope, nope. The car. Where is this car? Let me see. This is Jackson Bean. Even has his own story. This Dylan Cahoon guy. He's a very, what if it's him that's actually walking around? He's feeding this.
That would be kind of funny, actually.
Let's
Wait,
see.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Talking about security cameras again. Bridges. Mentioned at the end was a car. The story that was approached the nunnery on the roadside of the river. There appeared to be an abandoned car parked deep in the trees with some foliage poking out through the windows, but when they left, the car wasn't there anymore. Oh, is this it?
Wait, is that it? Did you find it?
Let's see.
Can you send me a link to it?
Yeah, let me send that to you. So it's like a car that was parked and the car was gone by the time they got back. But that's just in the texture, so I don't know if this is the actual story though. Huh. Interesting.
So basically, there's a car that has some shrubbery or something like weeds
There's
coming out of it, and then it just
Yeah.
disappeared.
Like coming out of the window. So it looked like an abandoned car, but suddenly the abandoned car was gone. That's crazy. Okay, that's kind of creepy. Maybe it was someone that was living in their car and they didn't want
They
to be
drove away.
bothered. Yeah.
They have a little garden coming out of their car.
Yeah. They're planting
Like nobody's taking my cabbages.
their veggies. Wow.
It's very interesting. And now I'm kind of curious about this car. What if it like appears and disappears?
That would be cool. The babies, though, the story seems inconsistent.
Well,
Well,
so the story, from what I understand now,
Yeah.
but now I don't know if it's just Dylan's version of the story, is
Mm-hmm.
nuns were sent there for whatever reason. And then this one got pregnant, went through the whole pregnancy, had the baby. The nuns then get mad and they're like, you can't have the baby. And then she tries to hide it to run away with it. But the nuns find the baby and drown it.
Oh, okay. So it's like a ritual they do. All of them drown the babies.
I maybe, or maybe they're just mad at her for having a baby in the first place, and they're like, you're not running away with your baby. We're gonna kill it. But
Right?
so did she also drown, or
I
part
think it's
that I'm a
just the
little
babies.
confused.
It's just the babies.
so it's haunted by the babies?
Yeah. So the story I'm getting is that it's a nunnery, whatever. Don't know why there's a pool, but anyway, they're not supposed to have babies.
Baptisms.
Ah, that makes sense. But you don't need a whole
That's
pool
the
for
only-
that. You just need like a little water fountain.
Maybe they baptize in bulk. It's like Costco.
Just like put them on one of those, the frying, when they fry the fries in the vat. They just drop them in a big vat of babies. The
Why
thing
you guys
is,
say
though,
like fry? Why is it got to be frying?
the thing is that, so the nunnery, why are they having babies? That's the question. Is it like
wasn't it like
demon
the bad
babies?
nuns go there? No.
Or are we talking? Or are they like
Oh,
cast
is
off?
that why they drown them? They drown them because they're like they're demon babies.
Or they're
Now that would be freaky. That would be a good that would be a good movie.
I know, like the idea of, I mean, I don't know if that would work though. That's pretty tough subject to make a movie about.
Well, it would be like a demon babyologist, or a demon pediatrist. I don't know, a demon person his whole purpose is to like trick nuns into like sleeping with him.
Mm.
And so he like does that, but then if it happens and then they have to confess, then the priest will be like, "Well, who was the guy?" And then she'll describe the guy, and then they'll be like, "Oh, that's the demon guy. You need to go to the nunnery right now. They'll take care of you there." And so she
Ah.
goes to the nunnery and thinks that everything is well, but then she gets a glimpse, like the getting close to like giving birth, that once she has the baby, they actually don't take care of him. They killed the baby, and so then the nun is like, "No, we have to escape." So then the nuns are also evil people, but they're like human evil versus like demon evil.
Wow.
But then it would be like, have you ever seen Eli?
Book of Eli?
No.
Oh,
Just
no,
Eli.
no.
It's a movie on Netflix. You should watch it.
Okay.
It's really
All right,
good.
All right.
It's a very similar concept, sort of, but I think you would like it.
I'll check it out.
Do it.
We have to watch.
That would be interesting.
Still need to watch Five Nights at Freddy's and see if that. Gotta get
Nah,
her.
don't watch it. It's not that good. This is the Scary Stories and Scary Movies podcast, not a child's notebook stories.
Child's Play. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe that's the movie we should film, right? There's your idea.
Let me make sure it is Eli. Pretty sure. Yeah, it's Eli.
Man,
2019.
That's creepy. Can't believe they would drown babies. I still don't understand why there's a pool. But anyway, man, that's a good collection of stories.
Yeah. It's cool that there's like many like people that have experienced that and like have written about it, even though some of these were all kind of in the same group, I guess.
Right.
But that's still cool. I wonder if there are any other places around here. Or maybe, I mean, we don't have to stick to local Utah, right? Or is that our thing, staying in Utah?
Yeah, I would stay in Utah.
All right, we'll stay in Utah.
That's what makes it great. Viewers, if you have any stories for us you'd like to find out or to explore, just like with this nunnery story, let us know in the comments what they are. If you have a source or even like a link, that'd be even better.
Ooh, should we have an email so they can write the full stories?
Ah, yeah. Or even a Discord. Should we open up our Discord? Maybe just an email for now.
Maybe let's see. Let's see how we do. Let's see how we grow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll leave the email in the description. And if you have any stories that you want to tell us about, just write them, send them over, and we'll read them. And you could be featured in one of our podcasts.
Yes.
Do it. And with that, we thank you all for joining us today. If you enjoyed these stories from the nunnery, as told by university students, please leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed for more scary stories. 3 Knocks at Midnight. My name is Gato.
And my name is Gabe.
And we'll see you next week.